in South Jordan, Utah. It's February 26th, 1995, and this is Marcel Barney. And we're here. We're going to take some pictures of take some videos of some photographs. Should I say anything?
Yeah.
And see if any of us can remember anything.
Yeah.
We're just recording some family history.
Hey, Compton, and we're still at his place.
And the date is?
And the date is still the 26th of February 1995, and we're just showing who's going to be talking on this tape. And
that's good. Okay, Artie.
And this is me, Artie Compton. And the lighting's better on me than it was on the other two.
And you're the voice.
And I'm the voice. And the three of us are here at this time. We're hoping Annette will come. Loretta can't come because she's with her family, and they're all just going to stay home and spend Sunday evening together. And so it's us three narrating these pictures.
When do you think, Artie?
I don't know.
Mother wore that dress.
I don't remember seeing it in Los Altos or Pleasanton or that when I was growing up.
I think it's from the Las Vegas era.
So
what we're debating here is exactly when this picture of Mother was taken. There's no documentation on the picture. Marcel brought it with her in her album, but we don't know. So Marcel's speculating it was about the time that the family lived in Las Vegas.
Which was 1970 to 1972.
Okay, and then we're going to show some pictures here of a family reunion at Black Ridge, which would be about the same time, in that same proximity of time.
So this is Mary Nola
Chandler
Compton.
Right.
That's who we're looking at.
Our wonderful mother.
Right. Okay, we show her picture to start this session. The back of this picture says that this is a family reunion at Black Ridge, and that we have here Jay and Chad, if Marcel doesn't block the light. Jay and Chad, and Mother had written on the back of the picture that they were trying to see who could throw each other in the creek. Of course, standing around are other members of the family, I guess.
I think that's Annette. It looks
Annette's got somebody by the foot.
Yeah, it looks like Annette's got Jay by the foot.
And Afton is back behind Annette, and I'm to the left with one of my kids. And Camellia and Melody are sitting there, and I don't know whose baby they have.
Okay, and who is this in the foreground?
This little kid?
I don't know.
That looks like, would that be Alden?
No. Alden and I were much older than that at that time.
Okay, so this would be about the time we lived in, the family lived in Las Vegas?
Yeah, somewhere around 70 to 72.
Is that where you lived when Jay came home?
No, we lived in Virginia, but shortly after we moved to Las Vegas, I believe. We lived in Virginia when Jay came home from his mission, but we didn't ever go to do anything on Black Ridge till we lived in Las Vegas. So I'm thinking...
Well, you know, we have some pictures here showing you moving to Las Vegas. We probably should have showed those first. Maybe we'll show those next, getting to Las Vegas.
I can't remember that.
But the issue is that Dad set out to start the bumbleberry pie business, and when he got going on that, then they decided to move to Las Vegas, where they'd be closer to the Zions National Park. Is that right? Where he was establishing the bumbleberry pie business.
Yeah.
So he moved out there. He bought this ranch, which was what, about 2,000 acres? I think it was about 2,000 acres, and the branch was called Black Ridge, and so the family had a family reunion there. I believe at the time that Bruce was living on the ranch, Black Ridge, at that time.
And this is, Black Ridge is just about halfway between St. George and Cedar City.
Right.
Yeah.
It's up in the, just before you start your descent from, if you go from Cedar City, just before you start your descent down into St. George. So it can get pretty cold up there. You're not down into the mild weather of St. George yet. You're up in the mountains still. Okay, what we have here is, we keep going back in time, but Marcel showed us that before they left Clifton, Virginia, to move to Las Vegas, where we saw the picture of the family reunion in Black Ridge, that we have a picture here of the building where Dad founded the company called Fantastic. He and a friend of his put together a toy company, and Dad had some toys, that is Berkeley Compton had some toys that were in the top 10, I believe they made the top 10 sellers for a year or two in the toy business. One of those was Silly Sand, which was a toy, and then he had Four Score, and a few other toys that he marketed. This company became quite successful and was eventually bought out by another company, at which time Dad earned the money. He had, I think, at one time about $4 million in stock that he was able to use to buy the ranch out in Las Vegas and start the bumbleberry pie business. But anyway, this is a picture of the building in, that was not in Clifton. The home was in Clifton, but that was down in, oh, I don't know, it was in the suburbs of Washington, D.C., or around Washington, D.C., but I don't know exactly where it was.
Of what town?
Where the building is.
Where the company was.
I have no idea.
It's a well-known town.
Yeah, I don't remember. Turn and tell about this one. You were there.
Okay, there I am. I'm in the shirt. I'm in the front, little redhead guy with the blue and yellow shirt. And you can't see, but on the blue it says Cub Scout in little letters all across that shirt. It's blue and yellow. Anyway, we're moving from Virginia at the time, and there's a moving van back there, and loading up and getting ready to move. And this was in July of 1970, I
June
believe.
13th, 1970.
Okay, that's right, June 13th, 1970. And that's me in the front, and behind me is Chad with no shirt on and the long shorts.
And no shoes always.
And no shoes. And Alden, who's the short blonde fellow with no shirt and no shoes.
Green shorts, gray shorts.
And that is between Alden and
yeah, that's behind Alden and
Jay.
Chad. Jay's not in that picture.
Who's between Alden and Jay? Is that on Annette?
Alden
Jay's
and
not
Chad.
there.
Alden and Chad.
I mean Alden and Chad.
That's Annette back there.
Yeah, and then who's...
The fellow with the sunglasses is a friend of the family named Danny Smith, and he helped us move from Virginia to Las Vegas.
Oh.
And then it's Mother and Dad in the back left, and Larita standing next to Mother.
Okay, so you guys were on your way to Utah from Virginia.
To Las Vegas.
To Las Vegas, excuse me, yeah, but I was really kind of a move to Utah because you got very close to Zion's Park, is what you was trying to do. And St. George and all that area. But you're right, it was to Las Vegas.
Here we are, we're another picture of the moving situation in Virginia. In the front right is Chad, and behind him is Danny Smith. And then behind Danny Smith is Annette, and Mom behind Annette. And then in front of Mom is Alden. On Alden, to the side of Alden is Larita, and then it's me in the front left.
Me who?
Me, Artie. Artie Compton. In the front left. And I remember we were pretty sad about having to move, and I remember them coming and picking up the horses that we had, and I can't remember which horse was picked up first, but one of the horses was picked up first, and then while after that horse was gone, I think it might have been a couple of days between the selling of the horses, and the horse that was left was really upset that the other horse was gone, and just really made up a fuss out over there in the little corral that it was in. Anyway, I just remembered that.
Yeah, this is the home that they had in Virginia. What was the name of that town again?
Clifton.
Clifton, where they had the horses and the swimming pool and the tennis courts and all those things.
Yeah.
And this was to move out to Las Vegas to start the business on the bumbleberry pies, right?
Right.
Or Dad was already had it going, I guess.
Okay, this is June 14th. It's a Sunday, and we're en route from Virginia to Las Vegas. And we're leaving Cleveland, Ohio. And this is kind of, this is a hotel. This is kind of characteristic of the journey where we would stop in hotels, and I'm sure it was quite a job to get unpacked and get into a hotel and get packed up and get back into the car the next day. And we've got our two dogs there, George and Vaughn. Is that Vaughn? That's Vaughn, isn't it? Or Vaughn wasn't dead by then, was he?
Apparently not.
No, that was George is the dog on the left, and Vaughn is the one just behind Larita.
And the cat. What was the cat?
Oh, and Mom's holding the cat.
And you carried all those people plus those dogs and the cat in that station wagon?
Yeah.
Who was driving? Dad?
Well, I know that Danny Smith, the fellow back there in the hat, was helping to drive. I don't remember. I wasn't one of the drivers.
Okay, well then there's Larita, and then there's Artie in the red hair, and Mother standing back there, and I guess Jay's hanging. No. Jay's on the car.
Jay's not there.
Chad.
That's Chad. I get Jay and Chad mixed up.
I don't know where Jay is.
And Alden. Okay, that's Chad and Alden.
And I'm kind of doing a little dance. If you see my hands on the side there. And
oh. And that looks like the station wagon to me, the Oldsmobile station wagon they bought while they were in Virginia that they accidentally put some diesel fuel into. And it just never, it wouldn't stop running after that, but it would diesel on
It
you.
wouldn't stop running?
They call that dieseling when a car, after you turn off the ignition, continues to fire.
Oh yeah, you gotta have a kill switch.
Right. But anyway, that car didn't have a kill switch. You just turn off the ignition and they keep right on running. But they had it out on a Sunday ride or something, I don't know, in the country, and they stopped at a service station and they got diesel fuel instead of gas by mistake, and it pretty well ruined that car. It never was very good after that.
Who did that?
I don't know who it was. But there it is anyway. I guess it was still running good enough to take it out to Las Vegas from Virginia.
Okay, this is Carthage Jail, and as we were moving from Virginia to Las Vegas, we did a little bit of sightseeing, saw some church historic sites, went to Nauvoo and Carthage Jail, and that was very memorable for me. I remember being there very well. You can't see me very well in this picture, although I am up in that crowd wearing a yellow shirt and red hair.
And that must be Alden leaning against the well house,
Oh,
or the pump house.
okay. This is, whoops. This is myself right here, right there, and then Alden is right there. So anyway, we're in there, and this is the window that Joseph Smith fell out of.
Jumped out of as he was being martyred at the Carthage jail.
We are still on our journey from Virginia to Las Vegas, and this is the mansion house in Nauvoo, and this is where Joseph Smith lived. And it's kind of hard to see us in particular. That's Alden in the back left, and none of us are facing the camera at the time the picture was taken. We're all at the door of the mansion house, and it was great seeing Nauvoo at the time. I remember it very well, especially since I went there last summer. Okay, this is the family eating breakfast outside of Kirtland, Ohio. We also stopped and visited church historical sites there. This is somewhat reminiscent of how we ate as we journeyed along, stopping at little places where there was where we could get out some food and at a picnic area and eat.
And obviously Dad was not on the journey. It looks like you must have taken this young man here
To be the driver.
to be the driver, the fellow.
Unless Dad's taking the pictures.
Well, I doubt he took all of them. This guy right here must have been brought along to be the driver, to help drive.
I know he was brought along to help drive.
Yeah.
Because Dad only drives 10 miles till he falls asleep.
Right. That was one thing Dad was well known for. Okay, so we must have, I would think this would be Mother.
Yeah, that's Mom.
This is Artie. This is Alden, I would assume. And Jay, Chad. I just can't handle that. And then Annette. And then
Larita.
that's Larita sitting there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Artie, what we got going on here?
Well, this is in Black Ridge, where we had some land, which is the land halfway between Cedar City and St. George, and family reunion. We were all there camping for how long? How long?
I don't
About
remember
3
how long.
days.
Was it 3 days? It seemed to me it was a long time, but I was a little kid and I don't remember. But in the red there is Mother, Mary Compton. She's got her head turned away from us, and Marcille thinks that's her standing there in the skinny legs.
It would be.
And this is after you arrived in Las Vegas, and we're living in Las Vegas. And
Mark is the baby in my arms.
it was 1972. I moved to Utah from South Carolina. This is Terry. In 1973. Now, I was there. How did I get to be there if I didn't move till 1973?
I don't know.
This is supposedly in 1972. Maybe this is one I wasn't at. We'll see if we see any pictures of me. Maybe we had more than one there and I was in another one.
Well,
Well,
we did. We had more than one there.
You had more than one, so I
But-
probably wasn't at this one.
but
yet.
after that, see, we lived in, and we moved to Los Altos. We were in Los Altos from 74 to 76. I mean, from 72 to 76, because we were there for 4 years in Los Altos. So we left, this was in 72, which it says on the back of the, actually on the back of the picture it says
Actually-
62, but we know that's not 62. It's
Actually, there is a conflict here. The picture says July 71,
Oh.
I believe, even though on the back of it said some...
62.
62, which we knew was wrong.
91.
And so-
Okay, so this is 71.
It looks like a 71 to me. My eyes aren't that good
Yeah.
anymore, but it looks like a 71 to me.
That's what it says on
So
the
it
side
couldn't be
there.
any later than July of 71 unless the photographer's studio is a little bit off.
Okay.
Okay, but this is a family gathering. I presumably was not there, but some members of the family were. So we think this is Marcel standing up here front.
No, that's Mom.
That one
Oh,
right
that's
there is
Mother. Oh, and this is Marcel holding a baby. She says she's always holding a baby. And this looks like it might be Larita, but I'm not certain of that. Anyway, it's members of the family. They're at Black Ridge and having a good time.
Okay, this is the just a good photograph of the campsite area, and it's kind of pretty with trees there, and that big red and blue tent, I believe was ours. I think that Mom and Dad bought that. I remember that tent very well, and just a very pretty area that we had there for that family reunion.
Who owned that pickup truck that we keep seeing in here? Was that Bruce's? Yeah.
He's got a lot nicer pickup truck now.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. He's got a new one.
Tell us about this, Artie.
Well, this is Black Ridge again, and this is just characteristic of some of the activities that we did there at that family reunion. I mean, this is what the little kids did. There was a stream there, and they played in the water, and I'm sure it was great fun. I remember playing in the stream quite a bit. I remember once that all the kids, it was a Sunday, and a bunch of the kids there was a part of the stream that was deeper than this, and they wanted to go swimming, and I didn't think we should go swimming on Sunday. And I went and asked Mom if it was okay if I went swimming in the stream, and she said it was, and I was really surprised that she let me go swimming in that stream on a Sunday, but I think she just wanted us out of her hair. That's my guess right now.
My recollection is this particular trip, particular gathering I was not at. I was still living in South Carolina. But I seem to remember that one of the things we did, it got cold at night up there in the mountains. Yeah. And one of the things we did was heated some rocks to stick in our sleeping bag. Yeah. And that I believe somebody's sleeping bag kind of got melted.
Bruce burned his.
Bruce burned his right on through, huh? Yeah. But that was something the pioneers used to do, was to heat rocks and campfires and then sleep, I think, close to the rocks. Yeah. So that they could get warmth for the night. We'd
pull those rocks out of the fire with a shovel. I didn't actually pull it out, I was too little, but I remember whoever it was that had the shovel getting that rock out, and the rock just glowing because it was red hot, and putting that rock down into the stream, and we had a flashlight shining it on the rock, and as we put it into the stream, the water, which was very cold, just boiled all around that rock. And I was like, well, as kids, it was very exciting to do that. Well, this is Dad swimming in a swimming hole down there, we think on Black Ridge somewhere.
Well, it says on the ranch in southern Utah, and the only ranch they had in southern Utah was Black Ridge.
Well, okay, yeah.
So I think this was a swimming hole at Black Ridge. Actually, they owned a lake there that sometime dried up, I guess, but I'm not sure if this is it or not. Okay, and then Artie seems to think there's some significance to the Land Rover that's in this picture here.
That's a
Jeep.
Oh, it's a Jeep. I don't know exactly the significance, Artie. You want to tell them what it is?
Well, I just remember when Dad got it, how excited he was that we had this, and took us out driving through. When he first brought it home, we were living in Las Vegas, of course, and we went driving out through the desert, and he just went driving all over the top of sagebrush and everything, and it was very exciting that he had that, and we used that a lot up there at Black Ridge, and drove all over the ranch. I remember Chad, I believe I remember Chad driving it around up there. He would have been old enough, wouldn't he?
I imagine.
Yeah.
And that was one of Dad's favorite things, was to go and just go off into the desert or the mountains and go take pictures or go hiking or whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he loved to swim as well as play tennis and other things. So there he is in the swimming hole on the ranch.
Can you focus in on Dad any better?
Well, let's see if we can get Dad better. I think we lose focus if we come in too close. But there he is. Okay. It's characteristic of our father to enjoy himself, and here we see his image in the little pool, and he's getting undressed so they can get in for swimming, and we'll just go up and have a little look here.
Don't peek.
There he is, but he's about ready to get in and jump into the pool out apparently on Black Ridge, although we don't know exactly where this pool is. But
on the ranch.
Mother says it's on the ranch on the back of one of these pictures, so I guess there must have been some place like this out there on Black Ridge. To take a little flashback here and show this house that's on Stabor Lane in Maryland. This is where they lived after they lived on Old Columbia Pike, we believe, and before they moved to the other side over in Virginia. what's the name of that town again? I can't ever remember the name of it.
Clifton.
Clifton. I'll remember one of these days. But I remember visiting Mother and Dad here, and I think some of the rest of you remember this house as well. The water tower certainly ought to be a giveaway. But anyway, it says 1971, but I don't believe that, because they were out in Las Vegas by 1971, so I don't know.
Maybe somebody went back to the house and took a picture.
That's possible that somebody went back to the house. We don't know who the people are in the picture either. But this was when the family was living on Stabler Lane.
This is jumping back to our trip across the country, and at Nauvoo, Illinois, George, the dog there, got into the Mississippi River, and it was very muddy, and George was very muddy, and here is Annette trying to wash off George's feet, and Alden is holding a water fountain thing. He's holding it on, and the water is shooting over the water fountain, and Annette is using the water from the water fountain to wash off George's feet. And I remember that she looks like she's about got it done, because George was pretty muddy, I remember. And that's Mom right there in the foreground.
Probably the reason they're washing George up is because he had to clean up a little bit to get in the car.
Yeah, because George rode in the car with us.
Right. That must have been some trip. 2 dogs, a cat, and all kinds of people driving in a station wagon across the country.
Yeah.
Of course, you didn't have any furniture with you, and you were staying in motels, right?
Yeah.
So I guess it wasn't that bad. Not compared to what us kids went through during World War II, when we had to drive in a little tiny car and go over the cold winter passes, stories of which are now famous in our family. Back of this picture says that this is Dad selling go-go guns, I guess otherwise known as Jumpin' Jupiters. And I don't know if I could give an adequate description of it, but he had a little gun that had a motor in it, and it turned an eccentric, something in there that was eccentric, and would make it vibrate. And then he had some golf balls like things with holes in them that he would mount these
little wiffle ball kind of things.
Wiffle ball that he would mount on the end of the gun, and then he would mount propellers of the what do we call that thing where we used to
It's similar to Tinker Toy.
Hui sticks?
Hui sticks, but he'd mount hui stick type propellers onto these things, and when you turn on the gun, the vibration would make the propellers go around. And of course you could get lots of propellers on these going lots of different ways in addition to the hui stick.
Can we pan back and show the crowd that's around Dad here? There's quite a crowd there as he's selling these things.
There they are.
Right. This was Dad's favorite thing to do, was to sell things and to invent things.
And to be up in front of a crowd.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, now these last 2 pictures we've shown you are back to Virginia, and the date shown on the picture is October of 1965.
That was before Virginia.
Where would it have been?
Maryland.
Well, yeah, before Virginia, you're right, it'd be in Maryland. And I remember Dad doing this when they lived on Old Columbia Pike. But this is October 1965 is the date on the picture. It may have been taken a little while before then. But you see down on the bottom there on the left, all the balls, the guns are right here. These are the guns, and then these are the balls, and then there's propellers coming out of the balls. And you plug all those things in, kind of like Tinker Toys, as Marcel says, and then you get lots of propellers going. I think this little fellow standing here, it looks like he's got in his hand a gun, and he's got quite a few propellers around there that are going in different directions. And Dad's over here, and he doesn't have a gun in his hand. Instead, he just has a hui stick, and he's making the propeller that you see there go with just the hui stick. This is one of the things that Dad was very entertained with and thought was a great thing to market, and did quite a bit of experimentation with marketing it with different products. He actually tried to market it as something that you would include with another product.
I remember, as long as can remember back, I remember hui sticks. And when I was going through high school, I remember Dad, he still, with Bumbleberry, used hui sticks a lot. And I remember working for hours out in the garage helping to make hui sticks.
Yeah, he bought various and sundry pieces of woodworking equipment in order to grind those things down and do things. Yeah, all of us, I think, or a lot of us at least, had a chance to help make hui sticks at one time or another in our lives. But I guess in one of our tapes we're going to have to demonstrate a hui stick and show everybody what it is.
Yeah. Here we are.
We found this great old tree.
This is in Zions Park.
Right.
And it'd be about 1971.
and we'll start identifying people. This is myself, Arden Compton. I'm holding a rubber snake, which I thought was great fun to play with. And this up here is Alden, and right here is Marcille. I'm pointing to the top of her head, that wig, that's what I'm pointing to. This down here is, that's Liesel, this is Larita, and this is Mia, Camille's daughter, and I believe this is Chris, Camille's daughter. And Camille says that Chris is holding Mark?
Marcille said that.
I'm sorry, I don't know what I said. This is Mark, according to Marcille.
Mark Barney.
Mark Barney. And I'm not sure about the other kids.
It's Robin. Robin's got to be one of those kids.
Could that be
So,
Robin?
is Camellia in the picture at all?
This looks like it's Mary Beth.
Is Camellia in the picture at all since her kids are here?
I haven't seen her.
Just Marcille.
And there's
Okay.
up here in this tree is somebody.
Probably Jay or Chad. Chad would be doing that kind of thing at that age.
Who's this boy up here? That's one of Bruce's kids.
I think so.
That's, I think, Byron or Alonzo.
Hmm.
Is Alonzo next after Byron?
Oh, you just went out of focus.
Now we're back in focus. Okay. Tell us about it, Artie. This
Well-
is in Zions Park, apparently.
Yeah?
And Dad standing here, Berkeley Compton. And then we have Melody, Hardy,
Seymour.
and then we have Carmen standing over here on the side. And they're somewhere in Zions Park, presumably in the early 1970s, enjoying themselves
I'd say they're around Weeping Rock.
around Weeping Rock.
Yeah.
Okay, I believe you, since I don't know. Okay, Marcel, you're in the picture. You ought to know what's going on here.
I can't remember anything about it.
Okay, well, it says that this is Mary Beth down here,
Yes, it's Mary Beth, and Mark's the baby, but he's not in the picture.
and there you are.
And no, that's Camille, and I'm in the orange outfit.
Oh, this is you?
That's my orange outfit that I made.
Oh, really? Okay, I had you two backwards. I actually couldn't tell which one is which.
My gray wig.
Oh, okay, so the other one is Camellia.
The other one
Well,
is
this is probably, picture appears to have been taken about the same time as the previous frame that we showed. They look like they were both there about the same time. And Carmen's in one, Camellia's in the other. So this would again have been in the early 1970s sometime in Zions National Park. Bonus here, we're going to throw in a picture of Dad that we have no idea where it is, what it is, or anything about it, other than it's obviously a picture of Dad. Maybe somebody watching can identify this. Let us know what we've got here. We're about out of tape, so we're going to show you another picture of Dad as a bonus on this particular one. This says this is Berkeley Bike, 1928, 1308 West 3rd, Weiser, Idaho. So this would have been Dad on a bicycle in 1928. Since he was born in 1915, that means that at this point in time, Dad is about 13 years old on this bicycle. I'll bring you right up and show him to you now.
There he is.
So that's Berkeley Compton on his bicycle in 1928. They built those bicycles sturdy. Look at how that bar is supporting the two sides there. Like,
It's kind of funny looking at a picture of Dad that young. I mean, he had no idea all the things that were going to happen in his life at that point. He was just a young 13-year-old, probably relatively carefree boy.
I don't think he's ever careful. Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess I don't know.
Responsibilities he had to take.
well, anyway, he was surrounded by a mansion, as we can all see.
I wanted to see it. I wonder if that's the barn that burned. I'm trying to figure out which house that is.
Boy, I don't
On
know.
West Third, it's the house that we lived in.
During the war.
Yeah.
But there have been more houses built since then, obviously. But that sure doesn't look that much like that house to me. Of course,
Didn't see much of it.
they must have had more property then and sold some of it and must have reduced in size, because today it doesn't look near that big. There was a canal just up the road from there, Holloway Ditch, that Dad used to swim in, and he says that's where he got his strong legs, was swimming in that ditch all the time. And you know, the doctor told us that when he had his hip injury in the car accident when Mother was killed and he was
Yeah.
had a broken hip, that his muscle tone in his legs was just like a young 19-year-old.
Look at his bones.
Yeah, and his bones were the same. Okay, this is a very small picture that's been torn, and only part of it's there. We don't know too much about it, but this might have been in Weezer. I suspect it was. And that it's a picture of Mother and Dad. And then in the bottom you have Camellia on the left, Terry in the middle, and Marcel on the right. She's torn up.
Part of her.
Part of her's torn up.
She hasn't recovered.
That's right.